In this video, I'm going to show you how to find square roots without a calculator in less than 5 seconds. Let's start with this first one, root 28. So let me preface by saying that this is only possible to do in your head without a calculator if you know your perfect square roots. Now, if you don't know them off the top of your head, I suggest you learn them, but I'm going to have the first 10 written right here so that you can see them. But again, this is kind of a requirement for this trick to work. So now I need to find the highest perfect square root that's below this number. So root 28, the highest square root that's below it is root 25. I'm going to write it right here, and this means my estimate of root 28 is going to be 5 point something. But 5 point something is not that impressive. How do I get a more accurate estimate? Well, I'm going to take the difference between these two numbers, 28 and 25. So 28 minus 25 is 3, and that's the numerator of what's after this decimal. The denominator of what's after the decimal is just this big number doubled. So 5 times 2, which is 10. Now 5.3 tenths makes no sense. It's not a mixed number and it's not a decimal. So let me write the whole thing as a decimal. Well, 3 tenths is just 0.3, and therefore 5 and 3 tenths is just 5.3, and that's going to be our estimate for root 28. Now, what if I plug it into the calculator? What does it say? Well, the calculator says 5.29, so not a bad estimate for doing it completely calculator free. Let's try a different one to get the hang of it. So we have root 89. Well, I need to find the closest root that's below this number, so that's going to be root 81, which is just 9. I write root 81, and that's 9 point something. How do I get the value after the decimal? Well, I take the difference between these two numbers, 89 minus 81. That's going to give me 8. And then I double the big number, which is doubling 9, which is 18. And 8 over 18 is the same as 4 ninths. Now, if you know your ninths, 1 ninth is 0.1 repeated, 2 ninths is 0.2 repeated, and so on. Well, then 4 ninths is 0.4 repeated, which gives me an estimate of about 9.44. If I plug this into a calculator, it's going to tell me 9.43. So again, pretty good estimate for not using a calculator. What about root 11? Well, we're going to use the same rule. We have root 9, the closest root without going over. I'm going to write it here. And this means that root 11 is going to be 3 point something. How do I find the point something? Well, I take the difference between these two numbers. 11 minus 9 is 2. And then I divide it by this big number doubled, which is 6. Now 2/6 is the same as 1/3, and 1/3 is 0.3 repeated, so my estimate is about 3.33. If I plug it into the calculator, it's going to say 3.32. So again, a pretty good estimate. Let's try this next one. We have root 67. So the closest one without going over is going to be root 64. I'm going to write it here, and that's going to be 8 point something. I'm going to take the difference between these two numbers, 67 and 64. That's going to give me 3. And the denominator is going to be this number doubled, which is 16. If you know your 16ths, then you know that 3/16 is about 0.187. So my estimate is 8.187. And if I plug this into a calculator, it's going to tell me 8.185. So a very, very close estimate. Here's a couple of examples on screen for you to try. Leave your answers in the comments and share this with a friend you think might enjoy this cool math trick.